News Hour on GBC News and GTV. In other stories, the Ghana Medical Association is calling for urgent ban on single-use plastics, warning that plastic pollution is no longer an environmental concern, but a growing public health risk. The association says microplastics and harmful chemicals from disposable plastic products are increasingly contaminating food, drinking water, and the environment, with potential long-term effects on human health. It is urging governments to introduce stronger measures, including a ban on selected single-use plastics, to protect both public health and the environment. And we have on the line the Joint Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Richard Selome. Hi, Doc. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us on GBC News and GTV.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, so Doc, what evidence links single-use plastics to public health risks, as the Ghana Medical Association claims?
Well, last Friday, the Ghana Medical Association held our annual public lecture on the theme Food Safety in Contemporary Ghana, Public Health Concerns for the Consumer. And indeed, we discussed various serious issues happening to our food. And indeed, if you go through the evidence presented by the experts, and then the panel discussion, the issues raised by the market women, consumers, and others, including Consumer Protection Agency, you would realize that we literally are killing ourselves with the food we eat rather than healing ourselves as it's supposed to be. One of the key issues that came up was the matter of water, for example, which provides evidence to the matter of the ban of the plastics that our president called for. Indeed, in the country, majority of people would not normally take water from their taps because we feel that is not safe. But we know, for example, that work done by various researchers across the country have identified microplastics because of how this water is handled and kept in the sun. And it leaches microplastics into the water. In addition to over 70% of these sachet waters already containing harmful bacteria has been reported. Research also confirms that these microplastics, when leached into water, when leached into food, like I'm sure when you see some of the food joints, banku is wrapped in in rubber plastics, the film, and heated. And this also leaches plastics into these foods, which can settle into various body organs, affecting hormones. And we also know it's been reported in scientific work that these are linked to cancers, some cancers, particularly of breast, prostate cancers as well, and then lung cancers. And so this evidence is telling us that if we look across our spectrum, where we are using banku to wrap, rubber to wrap banku, where we are using rubber to wrap even fanti kenke, that used to be only the plantain leaves, now have rubber being used to wrap that before the plantain leaves are applied. And then the sachet water and even the bottled water, which is kept in the sun in most shops. When you look in front of them, they are kept in cages in the shop, in front of the shops and in the sun. And the sun heats it up, in the night it cools down, rain beats it, and etc. It tells you clearly that this is a serious matter beyond just the styrofoam one, which is used for food packs that are used by people, and then they microwave them even though they are not even safe, and leaches a lot of these plastics. Sometimes you feel the taste in the food as it is heated. So this is a serious matter, very widespread, that we need to tackle. And that is why our president made the strong call that beyond just the styrofoam products, the ban should be expanded to single-use plastics and gradually phase them out and replace them with safer alternatives.
We have quite a number of these plastics on the market, the single-use plastics. Practically, which ones do you think that immediately we should get them off the market?
So we don't need to really reinvent the wheel. Rwanda is doing this. you don't see rubber bags in Rwanda. Even when you get to the airport, you are told that you are not supposed to bring rubber bags here. And so a lot of these rubber bags, you take them, I'm sure you buy food, you buy certain items. You take them, you take the food out, or you take whatever you bought in the packaging out, and then the rubber is left. If you walk along the beach in Kolegono, for example, you will see all the plastics all over. When it rained, we saw all these plastics floating around. And so the rubber bags are there, the food packs that are also plastics are there. Many of all these packaging that we see that are rubber based or plastic based can be phased out. Now we have paper based food packaging. Even now in the country, you see paper based food packages which can be microwaved safely enough. We also have paper bags. And in recent times, we travel, you are encouraged and incentivized to bring that the paper bag back, because you can use that multiple times as opposed to the rubber that you buy and the thing is put in, you throw it away, you go next time and get another one. Again, with the plastic bottles for water, that may take a bit of time to look at, but we can begin to incentivize recycling of this. In Germany and other Scandinavian countries, there is a refundable component in the cost of bottled water. And so, for example, if you took the 500 mils of bottled water, and let's just say the cost is 1 cedi, we should implement measures such that that bottle of water, maybe 50 pesos, is actually refundable to you if you bring the bottle back for recycling. And so you realize you travel out of the country, you don't even think of throwing the bottle of water away, because almost half the cost will be refunded back to you when you return the bottle. And there's a machine, you don't need to see anybody, you put it in, it compresses it nicely and prints a receipt, which you can then use at the shop or any other places. And so we've also heard of some alternatives, some biodegradable packaging for even water. I think it was UMAT in Takwa also, where they had put something like that across. And another university, if I'm not mistaken, that ANYETEI'S had also come out with some biodegradable alternative, plant-based packaging. We need to scale this up to look at that and also prepare those who have been importing these items to gradually shift to these new ones and incentivize them to do so. Yes.
Yeah, so Doc, aside the ban that the GMA is calling for, what other measures can we adopt to handle this situation, which has become a national discussion?
Yes, I have started talking about incentivization. The other bit we need to incentivize is the research component. Recently, we read of reports in East Africa where they are using even plantain stems. Plantain stems. Typically, we cut the plantain off and throw away the stems. But we have seen work has been done, which is being scaled up commercially, where they are using plantain stems and the fibers derived from there for paper production, for various things, paper bags, and even sanitary pads as well. And so we need to incentivize research, and we call on industry to incentivize this, and then government itself to put some effort into incentivizing this at the universities. The universities have various labs sitting there and not tying that to industry and the development of the country. This could open a whole new industry for employment, for revenue generation, and for even foreign exchange as we export this out. We can hold hackathons for engineers as well as scientists to come up with products that we can look at and scale up accordingly. Again, we must begin to enforce the laws. We have talked about styrofoam. We've seen the executive director of EPA, for example, going around town doing some education, which is good. And we must do the public engagement and education in readiness for that ban, and hopefully expanding of the ban to single-use plastics. We need to educate the public and why we must get rid of these plastics, because of the serious dangers they pose to us. Of course, the flooding is also another side of the story, that these plastics choking our gutters and others cause us. So there are multiple ways we can be able to encourage the public to move away from these single-use plastics. And there's a need to educate the people. And for us, GMA, we also call on institutions like the NCCE to use local language, community-based education to educate the public on how to properly dispose of these single-use plastics, and then also use better alternatives than these single-use plastics as well.
Dr. Richard Salome of the Ghana Medical Association, we are so grateful for your time. And